Welcome back. Thank you, Spawn. Thank you for that lovely introduction. That was the fastest 10 seconds of my life.
Whoa.
We're really... Can I just tell you? So I have a new microphone. I'm going to use a metaphor for this, right? So I have a new microphone.
Please.
And it looks like a great microphone, right? It looks like it's all great. It looks like it's all like working operationally. But what you don't see on the other side of the camera is it's actually held together from here to here by string. You can see the little bits of string here, and you can see some string up here, right? This is a metaphor for how productions work, people at home. The production behind the scenes is much messier than anything you see on camera, which for the OPL is definitely saying something. But can I say, I think we have set a new all-time standard for messy production today. So hats off to everyone involved in the show. It's been terrific to be here.
And Sport is, of course, talking about a lot of stuff that no one will ever see. And that was not necessarily anyone in particular's fault, but was a series of information that was relayed to us over the course of an evening that really, as the host of an esports broadcast, makes you, quote-unquote, shit yourself. But no, it's just been a fun night. The other thing that we have to remember here is it's been just a real bastard of a year. And,
absolutely,
I feel like
no one's fault.
This split has we have reached a point where it's like, well, we're nearing the end, and it feels like it as well. The games are still great. There's still a lot of excitement, but there is just that finish line is there, and then we could concentrate now on getting through the rest of the
Do you know how when you run a triathlon or a marathon, or what are those things that you do, Rusty, where you surf and then paddleboard and then run and then bike ride, whatever they're called?
It's a Tuesday
something.
for Rusty.
Yeah, a Tuesday for Rusty, because he's the world's fittest man.
Decathlon's the Olympics event. I think.
Do you know how, like, when they finish, they don't look like winners? Like they just faint onto the ground and then need immediate medical attention.
Yeah. Like legs are all jelly and they're having seizures and vomiting. Yeah.
That's 2020. We will eventually get to the end. But even the person that wins 2020 is not really going to win 2020. They're going to need medical attention at the end of 2020.
That's true. All right. Enough vocal subtweeting. Let's go on. Let's go on with the rest of the program. A good win there for PGG. They are
top 3, baby.
Yep, they are as far as I can tell, locked in, and ready to go. And that is just a fantastic ending for that team for the regular split. That's something that I think at the end of last split we would not have expected at all coming out here, and that they have really grown in leaps and bounds. Spawn.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that when you have a look at kind of the foundation that PGG was built on, I was a big fan from the start of Split 1. I said that they were going to be a serious playoff contender then. Obviously, they needed some more experience, and Sully will always be my boy. I spent a year with him, but unfortunately, it does look like Parbu has been a great replacement. And sometimes, if you're Sully, you just got to take the opportunity to learn under a veteran player for 6 months, and hopefully it makes you better as well. But it definitely has made the PGG lineup much better. To be the third place team off a 6th place finish in Split 1 would feel great for Western Way and his crew. They seem to be backed by a lovely organization. I've never heard anyone say anything bad about Pentanet.gg either, which is always really, really nice. So I'm a fan. It's a real shame that we have to 3-0 them next week, because I have nothing but nice things to say about this lineup.
There is, jab aside, we spoke about Prestige earlier, the movie, Nick, and we had this conversation off air, so I think now's actually a good time to mention this, is Parbu has almost too much of an extreme become European. I don't know exactly which jungler he is following and working with, but I played a Nexus Blitz game with Parbu recently, and he no longer sounds Australian. Like, he has mind, soul, physically embodied this LEC player to the point where he speaks European.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
He is Yamato Cannon now.
Yeah,
it's nuts.
Wicked National. Is that how he speaks as well?
Literally everything he says is that, yeah.
Yeah, because Rare 7 is also like that. And let me just tell you, I have one on my team. Pete, I'm sorry. I don't know what happened to him. But they do get very annoying when they start to act like that, because I know that they speak with a fine Aussie accent, both of them. So yeah, what's going on?
It not only that, but how he looks at one point, because like when I speak to Pablo, most of the time I'm speaking to him over Twitter or something, and and at one point, I'm so glad you said that, Rosie. On tonight's broadcast, in one of the PGG videos, I'm just looking down at my keyboard and I hear this voice. I'm like, who's that? And I look up and I see him, and I'm like, who is that? And it takes me a second to just sink in, and I'm like, oh, that's Pabu, but it's Pabu via like Norway. So yeah. Anyway,
Scandinavian
to see who he is next split. Okay. We have the final two EPOS competition nominees to get through, and then we get to pick a winner. So we had the first three. A quick reminder was the Chiefs losing against the Direwolves for Bagman Daddy in the hotel. Then Julie Ordonant attending the 2016 OPL Grand Finals at South Bank. Daughter still watches. And then Ninja Tello was playing online against the Chiefs and got absolutely flexed on. This one comes in from Trastrix. While on exchange to Malaysia for uni, I not only got to see the epic semi-final and final of MSI 2019, but also the Bombers represent the OPL in the play-in stages in Ho Chi Minh City. I was lucky enough to get there the day they went 2-0 against Buffalo and Osiris as well. Ryoma and FBI absolutely popped off, and it's so great to see them doing well in the LCS this year. It gets me up early watching the LCS every weekend as a proud OPL supporter.
That's a good one. That's fantastic. And
well
it's actually very relatable, right? Like, the second FBI went overseas, I'm suddenly watching more LCS because they're there. Like, it's an oceanic team in essence, Golden Guardians as well. Like, it's super cool to see.
What do you mean in essence?
I mean majority.
They're just a full oceanic team.
I think they're majority at this point. But, like, it's definitely a pulling factor for those of the OPL to be like, look at us. Look at what we could do. Isn't it great?
It's got such oceanic talent as FBI, Spooks, Choo Choos, Raz, and Nero. Like, they're all oceanic people. That's fine.
For me, this one's disqualified because this is much more an LCS greatest moment than it is an OPL one.
No, that Bombers team we sent was honestly the best team we've ever sent international.
No, that's true.
Mimic, Balkan, Ryoma, FBI Rogue. That lineup is insanely stacked. And let me tell you, I saw firsthand how good that team is because I thought we were pretty good, damn good. And then we didn't even get to play League of Legends at best of three. They just destroyed us.
Just incidentally, someone close to Pabu in chat said, I tried to bully Jackson out of talking like an EU player, but I just made it worse. So that's so it's not just us. We recognize what's going on, and Pabu, this is an intervention. The final nominee comes in from the Chewy Apple, who says best OPL memory was the game delay in Split 1 this year. Juves and Nick spending a whole hour talking about books, exercise, and literally anything other than League of Legends. And when the game finally restarted, we got 60 seconds of gameplay.
I hate that. Like, I appreciate what you and as a shoutcaster.
Yeah.
I appreciate what you and Juves did on that broadcast.
Hang on a second. I need to prepare myself for the backhanded compliment. Okay.
No.
Okay. The biggest butt of all time.
Yeah.
As the coach of the team that had all of the momentum in that pause, can. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that feels like a bit of a biased interpretation there. Yeah, that was a fun time. That was a very fun time. I mean, the cherry on the cake, Rusty, for me, because I could spend an hour talking about nothing. That's fine. That's not actually that difficult. In some ways, you could argue that's why I was hired. I was merely performing the role with which I was given the job. But the cherry on the cake being the less than 60 seconds we got of gameplay after the hour, that was the thing that made that truly special.
Yeah, and that was the thing that, like, if we're talking about favourite memories, we've done similar things where we worked on the LPL as well. We had this, like, 2-hour pause to the point where we had, like, a 6-person analyst desk. People just decided to come over and hang out. Like, it was a great time. And then they were like, we need to go to the game. It's starting right now. We're like, oh, crap, run over. And we start casting, and literally 2 seconds. Like, it cuts back to the game, pans in, and the Nexus has died. That was a whole experience. Like, that kind of made it, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And also, like, you get to the point where you go, we've vamped for this long. We can't cut to a break now. Like, we have to see this out. Okay, so those are your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, is it 6 memories? 1, 2, 3, 4. No, 5 memories. 5 memories for the Out of This World gaming memory, thanks to EPOS. We need to pick 2 winners. What do we think? What are we drawn towards?
The first one was good. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I remember it being the best one.
It was like that's I agree, because that to me is like as Spawn said, the reason that you love esports, that is a real memory about something. Like, it had the holiday, it had the I'm up at 3 a.m., it had the emotional heartbreak, it had I'm watching it on dodgy internet. Like, that has all the factors for me.
And
Spawn?
I feel like everyone's done that. I think that one's unanimous. Like, that one hits in the heartstrings for me.
Yeah, I'm a big fan.
And then I'm going to go with the Bombers one.
Right, okay. You just want to you want to get our name out there more.
Well, I think, like, the thing was, and Rusty would know this feeling as well, and I mean this in the nicest way possible. Sometimes when we go international, you have to artificially hype up the region.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we sit in the story meetings when we go to, like, MSI and stuff, and I give a spiel every time. And then every single time as it goes, so how many, like, you've said all these nice things, but how many games is your team actually going to win? Like, the OS representative. I'm like, we probably won't win again. Whereas that time when we sent the Bombers, like, I was actually really proud to fly the flag. I thought they were genuinely, like, an insane freaking team.
Yeah.
Rusty, you're happy with that?
Yeah, no, I agree with that one as well. It is amazing how much potential that team had, and how sad it is that they weren't able to make it. I'd love to just see more games internationally, is the one takeaway that I have on that.
Mm-hmm.
I just wish there was more games for them to play.
Yeah. So there you go. Our 2 winners, Bagman Daddy and Trastrix.
That was a good segment.
You've both taken EPOS GSP 600 gaming headsets home, thanks to our wonderful sponsor EPOS. That was a good segment, and those are some great memories. That's a lovely thing. I mean, I will say that I was robbed, but that's fine. And we need to get ready for the final game of the day. We don't have a lot of time to hype it up. It's Chiefs versus Legacy. It seems like a big one. Gentlemen, are we tipping Legacy for this one?
I'm going to go with Chiefs. They actually have to win this game to get 4th seed back, and I think that a team playing with something to win, that's going to be big.
Mm-hmm. Desperation is gonna kick in here. Rusty?
I mean, Legacy looked unstoppable. I think it's crazy to bet against them if they show up in this game with the same form.
And also, this is the last time that Legacy will be playing for a couple of weeks, so they want to stick in the minds of the opponents that they are about to face over the next few weeks that they are a team to be reckoned with. Well, let's not wait any longer. Let's get to that reckoning. It is Chiefs versus Legacy. It is the El Clasico, and it is coming up with the Macca's Champ Select.
Dyer will know that this has been started. This could just become a 50-50. Mir is on the back of the pit.
Oh my gosh, look how quickly Nautilus fell on down. There's the Plasma, and there's the Killer Instinct. In his Vital gets himself a huge shield. Chippy's on the flank! Look at the Hextech ultimatum! He got evaporated! Direwolves are angered. They've had enough. They hit the shutdown switch and they turn it off. And there is a 34-minute ace. And just like that, the Chiefs say, we've got to do something. 60 seconds in order to get themselves an Ocean Soul. Let's go for Baron.
Yeah, it's already getting chunked out, 8,000. They do so much damage to this objective. Ayla has his ultimate, though.
How can they prevent this one? Tempered Fate very early on. Dragon jumps to the back line. It's not enough. Hextech ultimatum doing what it can. The Baron getting lower and lower. 2 kills. Instantly picked up there for Harry, making a triple. The man is possessed. I'll say it again because look at it on full force here today. Order have got into their opponent's heads. They find themselves a flawless ace and say, no, 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 that Baron is ours.
And here we are for the final game of Super Week, the final game of the regular season. It wouldn't be an OPL viewing without an OPL Classico to top things off, with the Chiefs going up against Legacy. Legacy looking unstoppable. They're locked in at first. That cannot budge, but for the Chiefs, they still have an objective in mind. They win here today, they go to 4th. They lose here today, they are locked in at 5th.
And that's a whole best of 5 of difference when it comes to playoffs, right? It's a very important victory here for the Chiefs if they're able to find this one. There's stakes, there's things on the line. You don't want to have to make it harder for yourself in playoffs if you can avoid it. Now, my question for you, Skibby, is how deep down the narrative hole are we willing to go? Because I've got a narrative for you that only really OPL fans would understand if you want it.
Look, I'm ready. Let's hear it.
Red side has won. So the red side of the draft, not in the actual champ select, of the graphics that you'll see, has won all of the games today except for one. So based on what we have as a normal trajectory, Legacy have to win this game for the right side to win everything.
Okay. It's been a while since right side of won. I believe it was week 4. You know, left side has just been so OP in recent times, so we'll get to see if that left side buff can be used to good effect to buff up the Chiefs. They're going to open up their draft here with the Caitlyn. Legacy now pondering what their response is going to be. And if you date your mind back to one of these teams last met, it was back in week 7. We had a very destructive top lane matchup. Tien picked the Kayle blind. Tapoon punished. He picked up the Aurelia. And the Chiefs will be looking to shrug off that match history.
It seems like we got the foot down here from Isles as well. He's going to take Draku's Bard away and say, you can't have that champion again. Let me show you how it's done. Picks up one of his best champions here. They've gone for the Ashe with it as well. And so Ashe is obviously one of those champions that we mentioned at the start. Is one of the best picks into the Caitlyn in general. This Lux is kind of the wild card addition to that draft, and that does throw a bit of a spanner in the works. Isn't sustained against the Ashe W's by any means, but can prevent a lot of the Ashe's initial damage and has genuine kill threat. So always going to be more of a spanner into the works, more of that wild card kill threat damage style laning phase option. You can play towards the Caitlyn Lux very easily also. They're very hard to deal with in general. They can play super aggressively and really hold you down, and as an Ashe, that's not what you want at all.
No, it certainly isn't. I mean, what are some of the things that we can look to try and commend the Chiefs on from their game earlier against the Dive? Was in part a lot to Draku just being willing to pull the trigger and say, let's go, let's do something, let's initiate. Let's see if we can find those picks. Obviously, it got to a point in the game where the Dire was able to welcome those opportunities and turn things around. But the Chiefs are definitely looking for an explosive start here. They've got themselves the poking bot lane. They've got Claire on an assassin in LeBlanc. And last time we saw him, he was a bit of a terror. I believe it was into Chaz, who played the Zoe. And yeah, he teared things up.
Wait until 0 seconds there, if not even less. We're almost at -1 seconds before they lock in the Galio. So they saw the LeBlanc. They saw a LeBlanc blind pick, by the way, in mid lane here as well. The only things that have really been targeted in mid lane were the Karma and the Syndra. And often when you see a LeBlanc, it's not just, a bit of lane control. Definite kill threat, obviously, from LeBlanc most times. Really good setup for your jungler from the chains, because you can double chain at level 6 as well. That locks someone down for a whole lot of time. And if you start sieging, and this is a comp that can 100% siege already with just the 3 champions locked in, all they're missing is like either sustain or dive threat to have this well-rounded siege comp. LeBlanc provides a lot for what they had in their first 2 picks, and it's definitely more about picking for yourself than picking away from your opponents or to deal with your opponents.
What to do, pick away from their opponents. What is interesting to note is the Rek'Sai's being banned away here from Croc. Pretty unique, really, to these two in particular. We saw it used last time to match the tempo of Babbitt, who was playing the Olaf, so definitely going to show respect to him in that category. The same will also be shown to Tapoon with the GP. Continues to be the must-ban, it feels like, in a lot of these games when any team is going up against Legacy. So that'll be removed here. Lee Sin now, also.
Yeah, I was suspecting that maybe the Lee Sin would be picked by Babib if you're going to go for the Rek'Sai ban, but they're looking for aggressive physical damage champions that have strong early games. They're trying to take them off the board. You've got your magic damage mid laner, and it's a Galio, right, that you've locked in against it. So they're getting rid of the physical damage, the things that can really keep Halo down in that 1v or that 2v2 even, as it comes across. Now, they haven't picked a jungler for themselves yet, Legacy. So those 2 bans being very targeted does make me wonder what they'll go for in their own right. And if it is something just like the Olaf, we'll see. I would expect that that's also a consideration for the Chiefs side of the coin here, as is this, of course.
Yeah, if you need some physical damage, then what better than this in particular? The Graves, we saw it used to good effect in the previous game, and it is one of those picks that will always be looking to bank your bets on your individuals, just winning their matchups and allowing you to be a carry to add yourself into the mix of things. Now the question is, what do the Chiefs draft now? They've got pick, they've got poke, and they've got big damage. How do they look to try and round things out? The grand reveal happens here and now, and they've already had a game so far on this Crocodile. Tien looking very impressive so far.
If you pick the Renekton, it kind of opens up whatever you would like in the jungle role. Sejuani actually is a potential pick here. I wouldn't say it's the perfect pick by any means, but when you've got a Renekton Sej, you've got a melee duo that could work there nicely. I don't think it'll be this one. We have seen some other options. Now, Sejuani's not going to work well with the rest of the team. We've already mentioned the potential of this Olaf as well. We've seen some stuff from Croc, let's put it that way when it comes to draft. So he's gone back to the staple, the standard pick.
Yeah, he's going to keep those other hidden picks like the Xin Zhao and the Jax that he's flexed. He's going to keep those wrapped up ready for playoffs. He's going to go for the Olaf. His go-to is most played, what was denied away in that match by Miru. But he gets his hands on it once again.
I wonder what we pick. Do we go something like the Gnar for Topoon? Do we have a confidence play in that laning phase? It's definitely something that can be taken down by a Renekton with topside focus. But at the same time, if you start to get those items, the Black Cleaver, the Frozen Mallet build, Gnar can definitely be a serious threat. And as we say it, of course, Gnar is going to be locked in here. One of Topoon's niche picks. There are some Gnar players in the OPL, but he's the one who picks it most willingly.
Certainly does, and he's the one that finds sort of the most success with it. You'd have to say there have been multiple occasions, right, where he's been unpunished before level 6. Mega Gnar's come on through. He's looking for those aggressive trades. He finds them, and then he starts to build up the likes of Black Cleaver, Frozen Mallet, and by that point, there is no chance to come back. So really looking forward to what this matchup entails, because we know that Renekton wants to be aggressive, so if Tien can try and find not only a solo kill or potentially a gank his side that favors him, that could put the brakes on Topoon's aggression.
And one of the major reasons why I bring up the Gnar in the first place, Skimmy, is the combo with the rest of the team. And Galio really had nothing to work with. If you're looking to be aggressive and go forwards, if your jungler was a Jarvan, it's a lot easier to have the ultimate combo. But now you've got the Gnar. So once he teleports into the mix, gets the team fights going, you can be much more aggressively stanced in how you play it out. Instead of just using a Galio ultimate to defend your team, give them the magic damage shield that it now provides as well. You can be more aggressive, play forwards. And that's important for the snowballing threat that they definitely have. And the dive potential as well. Bard ultimate can be used on structures. They can focus their champions and put in some serious work onto the roster of the Chiefs.
Obviously, Isles needs no introduction when it comes to playing the Bard. One of the best in the region up there with the likes of Ayla as well in showcasing what it can do, the carry potential it provides from a supporting role. Looking forward to seeing how he goes into this matchup. Obviously, we've seen a day, or even a weekend, I guess you could call it, of Caitlyn debuts. Coming back in with this new patch online for us. And is there a particular AD carry that you've seen really answer it the best? I mean, we've had them all, right?
Yeah, we've had a lot of things. Jhin does seem to be the universal pick. LEC loves their Jhin choices as well. But it hasn't seen the most success. Ashe has always been a historical counter pick, has always been used well into it, and it's a lot easier to execute. The Jinx, a lot harder to execute, but if you're successful, is the most successful counter pick in general of the lot. It's what we saw earlier today. So my answer is the tentative Jinx, but I'm looking at this game really to hopefully prove the fact that Ashe can handle it well, and it's up to the Lux and the Bard really to be the difference makers in that 2v2.
And that feels like the Ezreal, as much as it was hyped up to be a response to the Aphelios, both of those are kind of taking a bit of a backseat, right? The fluctuation in this bottom lane continues to go on a rotation of what works, what are the counters, and what patch favors what. We're going to jump now into the final game here of the regular season for the OPL. It's the matchup that every viewer, every fan of the region looks forward to. It's the Chiefs taking on Legacy. Legacy already locked in at first position. No pressure for them, more experience for Halo to achieve in that mid lane. But for the Chiefs, this is a win that would guarantee them 4th. A loss would put them in 5th. That's a whole best of 5 difference there, Rusty.
Most definitely is, and that's a lot to consider coming into this game. So there's weight behind this one for the Chiefs to need to get that win. Legacy, Nick mentioned it as well just before, but we don't see them for a long time. So you want to go out, take that extended break, put your best foot forwards, get that stage time for Halo here as well. Every game matters for him. Being the young rookie, new member to the team, He's got some confidence in Tally being behind him, but of course his aptitude in majors is going to be one of the major differentiators as to why we will see him more come playoffs, even though they do seem to be sharing champion pools at the current minute. That may well just be, Halo adapting to the team of Legacy, playing similar champions before they bring out his own picks.
It's kind of interesting when we talk about it, when we've got the ability for certain teams to have those substitutes in those roles, and it's like, okay, what kind of identity do you have as a whole? What do these lane assignments look like? And it felt like very much since Tally joined, it was very much to empower the rest of his team, ensure that, yes, maybe I don't go ahead and win my 1v1, but I can look to buff up the rest of his team. And whilst Halo's been brought into play, those conventional majors, the likes of Oriana's and Cassiopea's, as we see them done, the fact that he has a Karma and a Galio as well, makes it a little bit harder for teams to draft against.
You can see both bottom laners here, Skimmy, have started in lane itself. They're not going to be leashing at all. Doesn't necessarily reveal the position of these junglers in this game. Of course, it is a Graves and an Olaf. Both of them can start camp solo easy as you would like, with no real health deficit there. Olaf, of course, with an intentional health deficit, it's worth pointing out. And a lot of it is getting lane priority. If you don't start in lane against a Caitlyn, you have a really tough time in laning phase. And if you don't start in lane against an Ashe, you get harassed on the way in, as well as a Bard. So we're going to start with our 2v2s. We're not going to reveal the whereabouts of our junglers, and that just means that the importance on vision and playing around where these junglers could be just continues to rise. Babip, of course, going to be going towards his blue buff from a red start, and the exact same thing, pathing from top to bottom for Croc. So we're all playing around the bottom side of the rift right now.
We certainly are, and touching on that vision point, you could see that the Chiefs have already protected themselves. The entrance into their Raptor camp, that vision wall will now just expire. But just making sure that Babip isn't up to any crazy little business as we do check in with that bot lane. You mentioned the harassment that can come on through. That's Raze taking a big beating, dropped down to 50%, but as soon as there's the volley, and as soon as Babip comes into the area, a smoke screen will do just enough. Making that trade now even. You can see that Croc was there if need be, if that fight were to continue. He's hovering around and might now look to poke his head in as the fight will continue.
Maybe baiting for Croc to come in, but because the binding goes wide, oh, he splashed.
Oh, he has indeed. Now it's going to force Raze to flash away and receive that heal from Isles. 2 summoners burnt for the price of 1. Draco actually burning both of his. Also, so a big exchange in the bot lane to try and find an advantage.
Topoon now on the wrong side of the rift here as well is going to cop a bit of damage there from Tan, but ultimately is just going to try and force his way back into laning phase. Has the push and has lane control here as well. Is it Legacy's top laner? And so through all of this, junglers reveal themselves in bottom lane. Summoner spells have been used left, right, and center down there. It means that solo laners have been free to trade with each other constantly. Hold that.
Yeah, this is the power of Presti attack. We've seen 2 Conqueror builds here today, but no, Tien wants the all-in. He wants that kill. There's no lack of tanks, that's for sure. But he wants that 1v1, hence the aggression. Unfortunate there in his attempt not to find it. Tapoon so damn low, but both will burn their flash, and both will survive.
Very well played from Topoon to survive that one. That's how close it was, because Tien had the advantage, and Tien put in a lot of work, saving the flash for as long as he could, maximizing his damage output, and just barely, and unfortunately for the Chiefs, doesn't get himself out with that exit kill. Nevertheless, Topoon's going to have to teleport back into this one, and it means that Tien has the choice. Does he recall now, acknowledge that the wave's in this position where it's going to come to him no matter what, and walk back? And that's still a big advantage that he's fought for himself in a 1v1? Or is he going to teleport because it's a cannon and he wants the experience? He's in fact just going to do neither just now. He's going to let it crash because he changed his mind.
He did change his mind. He placed down some vision to ensure that there's no invade that could go towards his team's blue buff. Going to be able to deal with that wave as well. And Katsuri's going to take this opportunity in the bottom half of the map to get some significant harassment towards Isles. He's going to really force him to go for that delayed recall. Raze has already done the shot. He's coming back to lane. He's gone for the Vamp Scepter. He's got himself a Doran Shield. He just needs survivability.
It's funny, you could call it a delayed recall, but at the same time, it's not like Katsuri's based by himself by any means. So both of them are going to be very delayed. That was trying to force the wave in. You know, if Isles got that wave to crash, then he was content recalling, so they fought over a lot of health back and forth. Tian's still putting in some serious work in top lane with that teleport as mid.
Yeah, mid is where we're looking right now, because that is Croc on the hunt. Oh, this time the charge won't connect. We saw what happened when Claire was playing the Galio, and he nearly fell on down when the charge back went.
Did he dodge the axe with that?
He dodged something. I didn't quite catch it. but he definitely didn't fall on down, which is, I'm sure, what Halo was happy about. Had to commit his flash as well, so still a happy panda. And we turn our attention to the top side of the map, and that sort of answers our question, right? We wanted to see, will Tapoon get punished on this niche pick of his? Well, certainly has. Tien's going to hit level 6 first, and he's just been unrelenting in his trading patterns.
Yeah, laning phase is always going to kind of start this way in favor of the Renekton. We already very briefly touched on this, but at the item breakpoint, things start to swing. Tien's threatening a dive. It's so's bottom. There's fighting everywhere.
Yeah, there's a fight on two fronts right now. Isles returns. The axe gets flashed away from, but Croc is waiting for that cooldown to come on through. Can Raze kite him afar? He doesn't have much attack speed, but that's not going to prevent him from protecting his support player. Can run back and pick up some hot cocoa on a winter's night and be quite content that he will not give across an early first blood here.
That was a super tragic time to pan away from top lane there, Skibby. But at the end of the day, it looks like Tien used his ultimate and disengaged with low health. So Toppin's going to be able to push this one out. Let me speak about top lane.
No, you're not allowed to, apparently. There's the hero's entrance as Halo jumps on in. Doesn't knock anybody up, but he's now looking for that taunt. Doesn't even matter. Out go the wings, and out goes the damage. They find Turn in a two-man taunt as well. Instant cleanse from Ketsuri. Does not want to be a victim here. The smoke bomb goes down, and he cuts all his vision and cuts all his hopes and dreams of escaping this situation. Babip is a man possessed. He locks you all down. At the 7-minute mark, Legacy explode onto the map.
Yeah, Legacy find themselves 2 kills there and very much commanding position over the bot lane wave as well. You can see the Caitlyn with no health, no mana, choosing to stay. Seems like must be close to items with this just pure greed. Because if Isles tick 6 at this point, you're dead. Raze is about to hit it off this minion as well. Really needs to respect. Seems like he will be okay as the reinforcements are here, because here comes Big Croc.
Yeah, Croc, forget about the camps. No, he just wants to keep ganking on repeat. Magical Journey will do wonders in ensuring that those flashless members will be able to get to the safety of that turret. Tien, meanwhile, will continue his aggression nonetheless and get himself a little bit of gold to assist. And Croc will be rewarded by staying on this side of the map by going for the first dragon.
Babip already on the other side of the map hitting the Rift Herald though from the looks of it as he's aggroed that one. So this is just going to be a trade of objectives. Chiefs of course doing this one on vision is a major proponent for why it has been started. They're also just going to throw a hawk shot for good measure and know that it's there. Maybe just looking to see the exact health values of it to kind of work out how much time they have at this Rift Herald to get it done. But they'll get it done perfectly fine. No issues at all. Babip now has the decision of where he wants to place this one. And normally you would say a side lane's the way to go. If you find an opportunity now that your bot lane is ticking over to level 6, place it down there after a gank potentially is the way to go. But you've got a 2-0 mid laner here as well. So really wherever you bring Halo is the place that you're probably going to look towards snowballing those turret plates and gold for your side of Legacy.
And it's interesting on that same note how Croc wants to try and play around it, right? Because there is no flash still in that bottom lane. Halo doesn't have it as well, but both himself and Claire do. So there are lanes that they can look to target and utilize their summoner advantage to good effect to not only find some kills, but cancel out the true power of the Herald. Maybe not executing a turret, but getting as many plates as they would have liked. So be interesting to see how they navigate these next few minutes.
And we've been seeing a lot of AD carries and carry champions in general being the ones to pick up the Herald themselves, leaving it so that the junglers don't pick it up. And that's often because you just want that person to get the solo gold onto the structures. But when your jungler is someone like a Graves, often you would want to just still share that gold with Graves. Definitely a money-hungry champion. Waiting for when they'll place that, just to continue that conversation a little bit further. When would a Herald be summoned? I think you want Halo to base first. He's going to pick up the blue here, so he'll have one more wave to contend with in mid lane, and should be able to pick up the Hextech Proto Belt. So from that point, definitely does empower himself a little bit more, guarantees that if LeBlanc's going to pressure him, he has instant wave clear as well. And because you don't have flash just yet, having that Proto Belt's nice for closing the distance to ensure that you can hit that taunt.
Certainly is, and also fantastic at disengaging away from that Ted. But we wonder where Croc would go, and he turns up to the top side as Tien flashes on his head, pops the ultimate. Tapoon trying to bunny hop away and then flashes away, but Croc will follow. And out of range of the turret makes it very easy for Chiefs to be successful, but they will look for more. You can see that both the mid laners are trying to assist their top side map by going for the rotation, but they're going to go for a 1v1 biff here as a result. Tien's on the flank, Croc's on the inline, and Halo just about to get that flash. Burns the ultimate, and he survives. A fantastic outplay.
He's just barely scraped his way out to safety from that one. Halo The magic shield coming up from the W there as well from the looks of it. Actually, no, it was the activation of the ultimate and gets out just before the chains connect. I mean, fantastic stuff from Halo to survive as the Chiefs trying to pounce on him.
That's huge. One casualty did not become two there. That was not enough to equalize the scoreboard at this stage of the game. The Chiefs are still searching for a little bit more here. They know that the gold could be against them. As Drag, who goes for a crazy interaction. No, I think that is a fat finger there, or flash into ultimate. It looked cool, but not what he's
we
after.
all know what that was, Skibby. The Bard ultimate came out and Dragku just grabbed his keyboard and headbutted it. Every possible button that you could press at once to get himself to safety. But he lives, and that's what matters.
He does live. And he'll be hoping that the camera wasn't down that way to catch that. Delete the VOD, forget about it. Now, top side. Tapoon, he is going to find his revenge. He takes down TN. As he's got teammates around him to support him. Claire is hunting for it. They want Babip. He'll get it! That's a big pickup. They make it a trade that's even. And that prevents the Herald being summoned as well.
Yeah, exactly. That's the real win, Skimmy, is there's no further objective to even consider if you were Legacy. That's just going to be the takedown. They're just going to get themselves the kill. Opportunities still presenting themselves in bottom lane, of course. The Draku not having the flash, not having the ultimate, does actually remove a bit of the kill threat down there. Nice play from Claire. It's a good dive from Legacy, but fantastic teleport, making sure the trade was there. Keeping them toe-to-toe with Legacy.
Definitely do keep them toe-to-toe and don't allow Legacy to find that big window of strength, and you can see what it means now. The awkward
Herald's
timing there for
timing out.
Babip. Yeah, he had to summon it from base.
It's going to go bottom. We'll see how he chooses to play this one. Halo has teleport. Topun also has teleport. If they really wanted to, and they don't have to, if they really wanted to, they could actually force this Herald charge onto the bottom lane turret for a little bit more than just the plates. Nevertheless, we'll see if they can at least guarantee the charge to go off. As Chiefs have reset, Croc is on the bottom side of the map.
So we can check on the gold leads as it stands right now. Incremental leads can be found here for the side of Legacy. Only real advantage at this stage favors Croc.
That's fine.
So the Herald is
Teleport's
here.
coming in.
Croc is on his way, and a teleport's going to come on through. That's vision that Legacy are not aware of. Tempered Fate is fantastic. Ols, the smurfing keeps in place as Crocodile. The Dominus is going to ensure that whoever he locks down will fall on down. Babbitt with the fancy feet, but not fancy enough. The sheer damage and maneuverability that Chiefs possess allowed him to get a double kill to start off this skirmish. Shutdown goes the way of Claire. Yeah, give him a LeBlanc. He will pop off, and he's showcasing it here today.
And if you summon a Rift Herald at your fountain, you have given 45 seconds of notice to the opposing team that if they want to make a play, they can. Claire with no teleports, able to be in the area just by walking his way down. You've got Tan into the mix as well, of course, with that teleport. Very early, very much before someone like Topun could have an influence. And the Chiefs come out with those extra kills. Now, Herald, the last thing we have to check is, does it get the charge off? The answer is, of course, yes. But Croc comes into the mix. Isles tries to buy time, but they're walking towards Caitlyn traps, Lux bindings. They've narrowed themselves into the alcove, into an absolute pit with no way out, no safety. So the Chiefs are able to capitalize on that one very easily, and very nice play from them in general.
See there on the tail end, it was really Halo buying as much time as he could as he taunted all four members to take him down for that shutdown. To buy just a little bit enough time for the Magical Journey to connect and allow the other retreating members of Legacy to avoid a swift death as well. That'll do wonders here for Chiefs. They were hunting for that fight for such a long time, trying to ensure that Legacy wouldn't start to snowball ahead with that gold lead, and that's definitely put them a little bit closer. But if Chiefs... if Legacy can look to try and find turrets, that'll continue the momentum in their favor.
Recalling on Vision there, from the looks of it, was Topun. Tian now going to use his slice and dice, getting himself forwards to do as much damage as he can to this wave. And I believe that was a Rift Herald looked at by Babip. He's going to choose to disengage that one, as full acknowledgement of the Chief's strength is now going to be seated over with this objective. And they really did get a good timing on that fight. You know, you've got your Caitlyn Lux. You need to be able to be strong in the early game to snowball that one out. You know, get an advantage, or at least don't fall behind. And that brought them back into this one massively. And you've got a 3-0 mid laner in Claire right now. While your opposing mid laner is a Galio that's 3-1, you may not be able to solo kill him. You've still got a lot of strength yourself.
Certainly do, and he wants a blue buff as well right now. He's going towards the top side. Out goes the taunt. Is it enough mitigation? Is it enough raw stats to survive under that turret? It is not. Croc is the one that picks it up, and he's now got double buffs. He can continue to turbo farm those ganks as well as that clear, and ensure that as much as Graves wants to be a carry, he can too. But this is the question I posed only moments prior. What would happen if Tapoon can continue to find turrets whilst Chiefs hunt kills? And he's already well on his way to forcing a second.
Yeah, has the completed Black Cleaver also, so his strength skyrockets in what he's able to provide. You've got the Tiamat rush here first and foremost by Tian before considering the Black Cleaver. So while he has a little bit more wave control, and you can see he's still able to put in some serious work on a side lane of his own. Tapoon's starting to rise to the occasion in this game and be a serious threat when it comes to the team fighting himself. There is still the one major threat that you just saw, though, was when you put Claire and Croc together. And we already spoke about this from LeBlanc in general in draft, but LeBlanc's kill setup, the ability to work with your jungler and the rest of your team, of course, to ensure ganks just by hitting chains is huge. And Gallia really doesn't have a way out.
And they're tearing up a rampage right now, and Claire has itemized offensively by going for that Dark Seal first. He's already got 7 stacks so far, so definitely went on his way to considering, do I go for a Magize? Do I be the main carry threat? Tien locks them in place with the stun, and Lux in range hits them with the ultimate so low on his health bar as the magical journey comes across clutch. And that numbers advantage will now allow Chiefs to not only lay down the traps and say you can't walk past this, summon the Herald as well.
Isles actually cancelling that recall to throw the ultimate as well, saving the charge damage to make sure the turret doesn't get one hit. But the turret was always going to fall. It's not like Bard is going to be there to have the reinforcements. Chiefs still going to be able to hit that one home. Nice stuff from them. Starting to hit those item spikes as well here on their respective side, particularly for Katsuri. You can see a little bit more bold in the way that he's able to play right now. Starting to work favorably for the side of the Chiefs. And they're also threatening that soul point in 1 minute, Skimmy.
Yeah, they certainly are. He's a man on a mission right now with the Infinity Edge. More headshots, more critical damage, and more chance to take you out of the fight straight away. Legacy obviously looking to try and force those engages with just the absurd amount of CC that they have. You wondered what was there to really couple with this Galio. Well, it will be the Snar. But as it stands, Tapoon has been very much keen to farm ahead of the Renekton, keep himself locked in these side lanes, and become a valuable asset once they determine this is the fight we want to take. And that could be an option here in 30 seconds.
Will Legacy contest this one is definitely the question. I think that they're poised to contest the top side of the map more than anything else right now. Chiefs with complete vision control around the Drake. Seems like we are just going to make the conscious choice of a turret, get some control of the map. The question is, and we have seen this earlier from, I believe it was the Chiefs as well, Drake's up and it's free, and they've acknowledged that. So why would they not then put some pressure towards topside to get the free kills before it? It's definitely something they could consider. Otherwise, it does seem like it's just going to be the free Drake, and it does put themselves at that soul point.
And it certainly will do. A Cloud Soul's what we're playing for. More mobility. I'm sure they are definitely very happy with how that one plays out for them. Most certainly the top half of Chiefs draft there. Ability to dash on top of your head and outplay any kind of CC or invulnerability that you may be able to turn around with. That'll do it. 3 dragons here, 90 minutes on the dot. That means we're going to be playing for a very early soul point around about the 24-minute mark.
And it's only the Cloud Soul though, Skimmy, I will say. While we have been seeing a crazy amount of Cloud Souls lately, and it's an important soul to have, you have to look at the champions that the Chiefs have and if it's going to be useful. And I say it's only a Cloud Soul with the caveat that it's very good for what the Chiefs have. Not only is it reduced ultimate cooldowns when they get 2 of them, but you've got a Renekton and an Ola.
That's it.
That's nuts. For both of those champions, they press R and they just sprint you down. So that's definitely going to be a factor that is powerful for the Chiefs when it comes to their team fighting.
It's going to be huge. More time for Ragnarok to be there. Ensure that Olaf really is invulnerable in many regards. We'll get to see how they look to do battle in this one, as both the supports are going for slightly different variations when it comes to the Chalice. Draco not looking to buff up those shields as much as the Fiends would go. He wants Mikkel's.
I was going to go to the bathroom. We organised it. I opened my bedroom door and someone's having a shower, so I can't use the bathroom yet. More tilted than you know.
Ah, that's unfortunate. Well, think fast, I suppose, is really the only other alternative I have right now. Is I'll take the lead, no doubt about it. We can figure out what's going on in this situation here, not only in your life, but in this game too. 20 minutes. The Chiefs are the ones in the driving seat. Only down by a little bit of gold. Doesn't seem to be that big of a difference at this stage of the game because they're the ones really determining what they want to do on this map. They're the ones that have full control of the mid lane. They're the ones that are going to these objectives first of all. They're the ones that have been granted every objective that has gone their way. Question is now, what can Legacy find in these next 3 minutes? Will they find an opportunity to get themselves those power spikes? What are we looking for? Well, Runans is there. That's one answer. The 2-item spike for an Ashe to play around. They'll pay off big time here to apply multiple slows across multiple targets. Bit of soft CC to work with.
Yeah.
Most notably here on the Gnar is the Frozen Mallet and the Black Cleaver too.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, because he's gone for the Black Cleaver Frozen Mallet build, Babbitt may have even considered going lethality. Just because you've already got the Black Cleaver there, and the only other person that's really going to be doing physical damage in your composition is that Ashe. So, yes, there's not going to be many periods of time where Topoon and Raze are on the same screen, but realistically, you're only going to be using that armor reduction for the team fighting itself. I think one of the major reasons would be the extra health that it provides, as well as that CDR, just to keep himself alive and well. But I do think that there's merit in the lethality-based build in this game. Something that we saw from Pabu last game.
Yeah, we did, and it seemed to do a whole host, obviously with the Umbral Glaive having utility to clear out that vision. What is interesting to note is that Claire has actually evolved that Dark Seal into the Magi, still sitting at 7 stacks, whereas Halos has sold his, ensuring it has enough money to go for the Leandries. The percentile shred and the slows that they will have will definitely ensure that is ticking big time.
But you did highlight that it is the 2-item spike for Topoon. That is also obviously the same now for Halo with that Leandries. We've got the same for Raze. We've got 2 items, and the composition that Legacy have got definitely was more of a 2-item composition. When you look at their scaling, it's still very powerful. Gnar is actually one of those picks, and I say 2 items with a grain of salt, because at 3 items, you're still going to be stronger in your side lane, depending on what you build, or you're going to be stronger in team fighting. So this is the choice, right? Legacy now at that crossroads with their top laner. Am I going to win my 1v1 against a Renekton because I can outscale him? And do I go for like the Phantom Dancer, Rapid Fire Cannon, even like a Blade of the Ruined King, Wit's End type of build, just to have more attack speed and be able to constantly proc my W passive in Mini-Gnar? Or am I going to go for the tankier build, you know, go for the Gargoyle Stoneplate, perhaps something of that like, if I would like to be able to teamfight better and be a frontliner?
And it is questions that no doubt will soon be answered, as it's 40 seconds until that potential Sol acquisition here for the Chiefs. As it is fitting to the Legacy brand, mid sacrifice a bit of its CS to ensure both Topoon and Raze get ahead. And ahead they are. Up 50 CS is this Ashe so far. Both will be sitting on an item spike with their Zeals completed.
Yeah.
So that's obviously one big thing to bear in mind, as the Chiefs will find themselves that mid priority, be able to get themselves into the river first, and lay down the vision.
So we need to look at the Mega Gnar bar for Topoon if they're going to look to contest this one at all. Halo's currently recalling. He's off vision. He has Galio Ultimate and Teleport, so that's not an issue. Topoon currently in literal Narnia is about to hit Mega, so might survive, but won't have the ult then.
Certainly won't, but he's up to terrain, so could look to do a meaty shaft there. Comes the Temper Fate, buys a little bit more time for the rest of the team to come on through. Where's the arrow? There it is. Hits on to Tien, who gets stunned in place. Hero's entrance, whilst mitigation does not knock up anybody. And as he jumps in, he gets rooted, and he gets deleted. Katsuri makes sure of it. 2-item spike OP, there's the headshot comes on through. And critical chance just tends to be the nail in the coffin there. As the kills that the Chiefs so desperately wanted to get themselves all the power going into this. They'll find 2, and Raze will act as a meat shield to prevent any more.
That's incredible from the Chiefs. The fact that Croc's even able to survive on the backside of that one, Legacy, they're going to hit this one. Babbitt knows that they need to secure this one, but Tien's teleported in, it's on again.
And he certainly has. He's jumped in, looked to try and take out Raze, but Claire will finish off the job. He'll take him down. The Dragon gets stolen away. But this LeBlanc continues to become scarier and scarier. 3-level advantage over this Graves. Shreds him down. Claire gets a double.
They have teleported their way in, Chiefs. They have punished Legacy, and yes, they have denied the Cloud Soul. But what's to stop the Chiefs from getting the Baron now that you have thrown yourselves at just a Cloud Drake? Unfortunately for Legacy, while you can understand what they were thinking, this may come back to hurt them quite severely if this Baron is secured. And Chiefs may have just found their way into completely snowballing this one. Legacy are here to contest this one, however. Topoon has got his Nara ultimate and has just ticked over to Mega, and they've got the Galio combo. Maybe they try. It seems like they won't.
No, they had that Tempered Fate, was just about to come up there. A cross-map arrow could have been an option as well. But they decide, look, our other members are just too far away. Let's not hang around here. Let's not waste any more time. Let's focus on what we can achieve elsewhere. And that says to be, let's maybe try and get this mid-tier 1 down as the Magical Journey goes on out. And it will survive. So will they.
Chiefs with this Baron buff. 3,000 gold lead in hand as well. Threatening the Cloud Soul point. Everything going well for them. 6-0-2. The scoreline of this mid laner, and their ADC Katsuri starts to show up. King Robert when it matters most. It does seem like the Chiefs can become these stage player-based games. Stage game-based players. Geez, that was hardly English. They're looking to snowball this one, cement themselves into 4th place here, Skimmy, by winning of their own accord.
So yeah, he does it all. He puts that crown on, and he puts it on with certainty, as both these junglers and both these top laners have also gone for the Black Cleaver. So mid on both sides, wanting their own individual shred and survivability, but then feeding into the grand schemes of things. And, well, that Claire LeBlanc pick is putting in work right now. We can start to see, with a 6-0 scoreline like that, what it actually means for his economy, and it means he can just outright buy a Rabadon's cap. 21 stacks, soon to be fully maxed out on that as well. His ability power currently sitting at 634. That combination, if he hits a key target, they're gone before they have a chance to hit flash.
And I don't want to say we're hitting a point where there's the potential for deja vu with a Legacy versus Chiefs matchup, because I really do feel like the Chiefs are in a commanding position to snowball this one out. What they'll get from the Baron buff is the last thing that we're waiting to see, because a kill could be an inhibitor minimum, looking to break turrets and structures otherwise. But it does feel like, in the past, Chiefs will get these early advantages. They might start to snowball the game out, but you can never count out Legacy and their ability to team fight. And that's what their composition does here, Skimmy. It's a real consideration.
It certainly is, and how many times have we seen these two teams do battle in the late game, around an Elder, around a late game Baron, and somehow flip the burger and make the game look desirable for them. Legacy will lose their bottom inhibitor. Topoon is not there. It is a 4v5 as they hold that base defense. He's pushing topside. He will finally recall. They dash out of the Lux laser. Out comes the Hero's entrance. It's not enough. They burn through that shield straight away. He's forced to flash. He's forced to taunt. He's forced to fall on down. King Robert gets a double. They're looking for a double in inhibitors as well. And at the 28-minute mark with a
Maybe
Baron
more.
buff inspiring them, they might look to try and end.
Yeah, they need the minion wave to come in. Right now it's just a cannon, and unfortunately a Baron-empowered cannon minion doesn't tank a turrets. So they need some actual minions to come in here. Bard ultimate out. They're desperate, Legacy.
There's Tempered Fate. Will they look for the 3v5? Is it an opportunity? There's the laser. Bunny hops away straight to the fountain. They need that HP back. One turret falls on down. As Claire's getting a little bit low, so is Tien, and Croc is bleeding. Their second turret will fall. The traps, they surround them. The base survives, but just.
Yeah, looking at the recall timing. So the respawn timings here of Legacy a little bit too close for comfort. Chiefs not going to throw anything away. They're going to reset one more time. Lots of money into their pockets after that one. Fantastic play from the Chiefs. One more push is realistically all it would take for them. They secure 4th place. They save themselves a best-of-5 series. Legacy, while in the game, only 6,000 gold down. It's not the 10,000 impossible number. Does still feel like an impossible game to come back from.
We have yet to see the full 5v5. Topoon has been locked in these side lanes, farming up a storm, trying to keep this Renekton irrelevant. But he's been grouping, and he's been farming to good effect. And if you compare both of the carries right now, 0 kills to LeBlanc and Caitlyn's name. Big bounties on their head. 10 kills between them. Huge leads in their regards. And they're showcasing what it means.
Cloud Soul too. And they're not even going to run for it, Skimmy. They're going to push straight down mid lane. They want to end the game immediately.
Yeah, they don't want that coin flip, as we mentioned already. It's happened to them in the past. They don't want it to happen again. They don't want to be jinxed. They want to break the curse here. They want to finish the season with a bang. And they want to guarantee themselves that 4th seed.
And here they go.
Here they go indeed. They're going to lock down that target. Look at Babbitt gone. The laser. They all sidestep it. And a stopwatch gets burned as Halo's chances to try and impact this fight will disappear in their heartbeat. Katsuri on the score sheet. There's Topoon. A 3-man shove into the Nexus itself. But that's not where you want the Chiefs going, because they say thanks for the money, thanks for the game, and thanks for the victory.
And thanks for the 4th place position as well there. Chiefs put in some serious work, and this is maybe the best way to end the regular season of the OPL if you're a fan of the entire league, not of Legacy. Because today we've had upsets, right? The favorites have lost more than once here. Order go down, Legacy go down. Direwolves and Chiefs start to come into the mix. And that's the week before playoffs start, Skibby. And we've just really set ourselves up for an incredible gauntlet run.
We certainly have. Super Week's always rough for the teams, everybody involved. You can see there that they've had to prepare themselves not only mentally, but with some creative picks and some understanding of how they want to try and take down these opponents. And I mean, well, welcome back Nick and Spawn. And I mean, for Spawn, really, you look at a team like Chiefs that have had a bit of a rough run of form in recent times. To end the split in such a good fashion like that has to feel good.
Yeah, it certainly does. I mean, the Chiefs would have loved to pick up a higher seed than 4th, but they'll take the highest seed that they can get based off this victory, which is going to be that 4th seed. They'll at least get side selection against Direwolves. But on the flip side, like, I mean, I've already said it once today, but it is incredibly hard to play that game as Legacy. You feel like you have nothing to gain from the game. You've already shown that Halo's meshing pretty well into the lineup. I think that they've put all doubters to bed on that one. He actually played a pretty good early game in this one as well. He picked up 2 early kills over Claire. And one of the keys to beating Legacy is you have to outperform their mid lane position because we know their top and 80 carry are so good. So I think Legacy, they're competitive. They would have wanted to win that game. But I feel like at the end of the day, when your back's against the wall and you're the Chiefs and you know you have to win it to get side selection, otherwise, you're going up against a very scary Direwolves with their side choice. Maybe just a little bit more in that game for the Chiefs to be able to perform towards.
Absolutely. And with Chiefs obviously seeing not the entirely two-plan season that maybe they were expecting, it's exciting for them to be able to come out there and really show what they can do up against the top seed. So it's going to make, as Rusty and Skimmy alluded to, it's going to make for some very interesting playoffs as we head forward. So let's take a look at the results from tonight. This is the end of Super Week. We've seen 12 games over the last 2 days, and there have been some bangers. Gravitas and Mammoth was game 1, with Mammoth taking that one out. Direwolves taking down Order decisively for game 2. Then Legacy crushing Avant for game 3. Direwolves beating the Chiefs in game 4. Pentanet.gg handling AV for game 5. And then Chiefs coming back strong to round out not only the day, but the regular split by defeating Legacy there in game 6. So let's take a look at that leaderboard and see where we have ended up at the end of the regular season. It is Legacy top of the table with 17 wins. Order number 2, Pentanet.gg, 3rd place. It's then Chiefs, Direwolves, and those rounding out your playoff contention teams. Then we have Avant Gaming, Mammoth, and Gravitas, who have sadly been eliminated from the postseason, but we look forward to seeing them again next season. So the playoffs are upon us. Let's take a look at the brackets that you can expect heading forward, because it's a bit more complicated than what we're used to seeing. And what have we got? Match A is going to be Order versus PGG.
We spruced up this graphic, didn't we?
Sorry? We did spruce up this graphic. Yeah, absolutely. And then Match B, it's Chiefs and Direwolves. So you're going to be seeing that on Friday next week. And then you've got Legacy taking the winner of that on the Saturday. So I did actually misspeak earlier before. It's still, for all of us, I think we keep name-dropping Gauntlet, and we are in playoffs. So Legacy will be playing next week. They do just miss out on Friday. So Order and PGG, Chiefs and Direwolves. Spawn, we've spoken about this off camera. It's best of 5s for this one, and if you were to pick 2 teams to go the full 5 games each set, 4 teams to go the full 5 games each set, these 4 teams would probably be it.
Yeah, as I keep saying off camera, Chiefs and Direwolves seem so evenly balanced, and we actually saw the Chiefs had picked up the 2 early games, and then Direwolves able to pick up the game today. They've been neck and neck the entirety of the season, even last season, so you can really put the whole year, and that is, to me, the actual rivalry within the OPL. I know people talk about OPL Classico, but for me, it's always been Chiefs Direwolves in about the last 3 years of time. Obviously, Order versus PGG, on paper, looks like it could be a blowout, just given the fact that Order did 3-0 PGG during the regular season. But I also think those teams are much more evenly matched than what they are seem to be, potentially to a lot of fans out there. And I wouldn't be shocked if we went 10 games next week. I do genuinely think that the Friday could be a very long one.
Absolutely. Rusty, you're in agreement, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible. It's very hard to say for certain how these games will play out. There's a whole week between it, but when you look at the matchups themselves, definitely a chance that it goes the whole way and that we get the maximum number of games. There's also the chance that something crazy happens and we end up with some 3-0 blowouts. You never know with some inconsistent teams that have existed in there through the whole season.
Absolutely, and I'm happy with the how the playoffs are going to work. There's something to this that really feels like it's going to be a knockdown drag out between a bunch of teams, as opposed to the gauntlet where you just go, you're one and done and you're steamrolling through. This feels like we are in for a real tug of war between a lot of title contenders, and that's an exciting thing to see. Skimmy, are you ready for 10 games on Friday?
Another week of resting this voice and we'll be okay, mate.
You and I will have to bury the hatchet on broadcast at some point, but until then, I want you silent and just drenched in honey. I just want, and then I want Tim to come in every evening and just douse you with lemon, and then like, back away like with palm fronds. This is like you know how Beyonce's voice is insured. This is what we have here in the OPL.
Okay.
So. Stay strong. You're like, just shut up, Nick. But the people who don't want me to shut up, it is our sponsors, our wonderful sponsors who have supported us throughout the entire split, and we couldn't have done it without you. Thank you to Neosurf, Maccas, and Epos for not only all the sponsorship you've given us, but all the prizes you have given away to the OPL fans. It's been a real pleasure to have you on board for this regular split, and we were delighted to have you, and we hope you are too. And I know that so many of the fans were appreciative of the cash and prizes that were given away. That rounds out the split, boys. How we made it. We did it. We're heading into playoffs now. Rusty, you're alive. Not only that, you're now qualified to do a whole new profession.
Yeah, which is going to be interesting if we end up in lockdown again, Nick. I'll tell you that much. But I'm more excited to get into playoffs than anything else, because it feels like the weeks of culmination, all the stress finally compounds in a very good relieving moment.
We've done it. And Spawn, not only are you would be excited from a casting perspective, but obviously Order putting themselves in such a strong position in these playoffs. And is this the year that you guys can do it?
Oh, I mean, I knew it was going to come off eventually. I've got my perfect deflection answer already. We'll prepare for PGG. We'll go away. We'll just focus on our next opponent, and we'll play it one match at a time.
Beautiful. Skimmy, it's just honey and Tim Lemon for you, unless you have anything to add. That's it. He hates me. And a massive thank you to all of you guys for watching. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you during the regular season, and we hope you will join us for the playoffs as well. There's no MPL tonight because we had the 6 games, but Rusty, would you please do the honors of closing out the show?
Oh, what was it again? I know the last part. What was the first part, Nick? It was...
I got
it.
Good night, Australia.
I got it. Good night, Australia. And remember, always wash your ass.
And that's a beautiful Hemo play onto multiple members. A shutdown, all importantly, onto Chippies. He gets himself a double kill.
Triple kills. Can we get a quadra? Yes, we can. It's Raze doing what he does. The team fight king.
You can only use these ingredients, and you can only cook with this thing. Hey,
I'm excited.
It's like a fairy pooped in a cup. Big shout out to the little legends that we created. So we've got the Fury Horn there, and then this is the mystery egg the graphics operator was making instead of that last graphic.
Guys, I want Twitch chat to do it with me. Make sure your chest hits the ground like this. That's 4. And don't be afraid to go a little bit faster or a little bit slower. Just do what's comfortable, okay?
My long-term boyfriend and I broke up over a month ago. How do I start dating again? Rusty, you're lonely. Finally, your ideal Valentine's Day date.
PC Bond, Duo Q, League of Legends.
Oh, very nice.
I think Bombers started them off quite well, but they just got outplayed on a micro level, and I am really good at this.
Send this to Frost Urine.
So who here wants a really mediocre painting of Gragas? It is a time for celebration, but it is also a time for mourning. Let's start off with a eulogy.
5 Drakes to the name, a Baron and everything else.
In a counter matchup.
That's the carbon response. That's the legacy win right there.
Is anyone wearing pants?
Oh, you're wearing pants. These some shorty boys. Look at that.
What has this become?
There's no AFL, there's no NRL, but there is always OPL. Come rain, hail or shine,